smokes, folks. We are back. It is the Jackrabbit Illustrated podcast, and we are back now for the 2025-2026 season. Us four have not been together on a podcast since our emergency pod. Ooh. Hey, Zena. Hello.
Hey. You can't trust, though.
It wasn't supposed to happen, but we accidentally spilled our milk everywhere, so.
It happens. It happens. But we are here tonight, brought to you by our title sponsor, the Kubota Dealers of South Dakota, in 10 locations, one in Iowa. If you need, something to mow your yard, to move some gravel, to help on your farm, just for fun, stop by a Kubota dealer near you and pick up something in orange. Chad's rocking the hat. I have put a lot of hours on my mower this summer, mowing our acreage here, keeping me busy. So thank you, John Colley, and everyone with the Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. And then next up, we got to thank our sponsors for our special episodes. And this is Northwestern Mutual. A special episode could also be anytime Brendan and Chad are on an episode together. But what
are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? This half of the screen's the problem?
Yeah, right. But for tonight, Northwestern Mutual, I've talked about this a lot, how they helped me out get my life insurance in order, helped me group all of my retirement accounts together so that I can start building that snowball, getting bigger and bigger. It's been kind of a good few months. So if you need help with retirement, college savings, investing, your life insurance, whatever it may be, talk to Chris Schenkel and his team at Northwestern Mutual. We have a lot of fun planned with them this year. Can't announce it yet, but some new stuff is coming this year from our friends at Northwestern Mutual. We're excited to work with them on it. So thanks, guys. We'll talk about that more as we get closer to the season. Brendan, how the heck you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing great. Running around, chasing after this one and her older sister. It's been pretty good. I didn't expect it. I was just holding her up to so people knew what the towhead was. I didn't expect the Kubota intro, but no, it's been going great, man. Busy summer. I cannot wait for football. Every time I listen to Sam Herder or the Blue Bloods guys or anything else, I just have like 13,000 things pop into my head that I want to talk about. And so this is great.
Yeah. The Brewers are hot too.
Yeah. White hot. Record amount of wins in the first half of the season, baby. I was so mad to start, and it's been beautiful ever since. And those stupid Midwestern garbage version of the Yankees Cubs are shitting themselves in their dilapidated dump of a stadium that they grow ivy over to hide it. So I am happy.
What if we have some of our Chicago friends listening right now? Man.
Good.
The Bears still suck. There we go. Good job, Chad.
I dislike the Cubs almost more than any football rivalry I have.
Yeah?
Yes, it's terrible. I really
Is that because they played the victim for so long?
Yes. They're the fifth largest
I was just
market in
curious.
baseball, and they act like they're the little sisters of the poor, and everybody should feel bad for them. And then they sit here and try to punch down on the smallest market in baseball and still can't get it done. Anyways,
there we go. Okay, we're not a baseball.
Tell us how you really feel.
Chad, how the heck are you? You
world traveler. Man. What's that?
You world traveler, you?
Oh, yeah. Repping the All Blacks tonight. Shirt that I got, official shirt out there in down under in New Zealand. Not officially down under, but kind of the same thing. We went there. That was pretty cool. Saw some awesome sights. Spent 3 weeks. Came back, and it's been an absolute whirlwind since. 4th of July, ran out to Colorado for a wedding last weekend. Didn't get any sleep, so didn't go into work Monday. And on Friday, I realized it wasn't Thursday anymore.
Okay.
So, man, I'm just trying to catch up, and I think Brendan can attest to the fact that it takes me a while to get going. So when I'm trying to move, so I'm just trying to get my feet back under me so I don't topple over. And this week's looking like it's going to shape up to be another busy week. So
Okay.
How about yourself?
Well, good to see you. We're doing good. It's been a busy summer of kids' activities. They're kind of in that season of life right now where we just run from one activity to the next, and we sometimes see each other at supper, but it's been really good. A couple of things have ended now. Baseball's over. Dance is over for now. And so here we are. So golf, one more week of golf camp. But yeah, Dallas, you have been super busy as well on the camp circuit. How the heck are you doing?
I have. It's June was nuts. Hudson's heading into his junior year, so this is kind of one of the two big or the big camp summer. So had a lot of fun running around, put a lot of miles on the truck, and happy to be done with that. I think it was kind of weird and surreal hitting the tail end of it. If that is truly kind of the last major summer of it, but no, it went well. Excited to start talking some football. I've very much missed this. I've missed you guys, and man, there's a lot going on during the between just kind of national narratives and things to talk about for the team coming up and the coaching staff and just on and on and on. We didn't even get to really do a proper post spring ball breakdown. I know Matt's had a lot of great posted a lot of great information, but in terms of just a podcast, we haven't really had a chance just to sit and talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were all at the spring game, right? And I think, looking back, right, it's been a while, but these are still things that I'm stuck with here. Chase Mason showed off that rocket arm, right? We got to see that. I think we were all fairly surprised Jack Henry was the number 2 quarterback at that point. Above John Bell and even above the kid from St. Thomas that was here and then he's gone. Tacticata, yeah. So that was interesting. But that's one of the things. The quarterback thing is what I'm looking at. Chase Mason obviously is rocket arm. We saw that he still needs to improve on those touch passes a little bit. There were some inconsistencies there. But man, the highs are going to be really, really, really high with him. So what else besides the quarterback position?
I mean, there's been a ton of stuff that went on. Some of it obviously tragic.
Spring game.
Oh, spring game. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, the running backs looked solid. So that was cool to see the guys, because we had the number 2 or 3 guys running, or number 3 and 4, I meant.
Well, unfortunately, Nate White is gone, right?
Right.
He passed away, and he was the number 1 back. And then
Brennan
Begeman.
That's who was running at the spring game, was Brennan and that other kid, right? I believe so.
Yeah. Oh, Quinn Renfro. Yep.
Thank you.
So,
Quinn. Yep. That's the one I was trying to think of. And they looked really solid. Was my point. That's it.
Yep. Brendan, what'd you think?
Thought there's plenty of talent around there, but definitely needed the polishing in the spring going on here. I'm excited about the O-line and the talent that's available there, and you couldn't ask for too much more other than maybe walking into our last national titles offensive line. If you were a new quarterback, I don't think you could ask for a much better situation when it comes to being protected and being able to lean on that. I think that looked real good for the starting offensive line for sure anyways.
Yeah.
But, you could see there was some of, when you deal with the Christian, the talents there, it's how will the depth do? And, I think that was something that stood out as something that will be interesting to watch as far as it goes. It's not football until I get my beard back. I'm better than the groundhog. If my beard's gone, it's not going to snow anymore. It really won't, because I don't shave it until that's for sure done. And it doesn't come back until it's football season because it's too goddamn hot. But other than that, I'm excited to see how the defense gels. Because, we did pick still more transfers up in the spring. So seeing how those guys all gel and fit in is going to be exciting to see. Garrett says defense looks great in the spring game, and they kind of tend to a little more, right? Because they kind of have an idea of what's coming more so in the spring game. than a regular game. But yeah, nothing super deep that I picked up anyways.
Yeah. I thought one player that stood out to me was Dante Johnson, the safety.
Yeah.
He's someone that I know Seth and Garrett have been high on the last couple of years as breakout candidates and stuff, and just due to the depth at the safety position and injuries, he hasn't truly gotten a chance to shine. Special teams demon, but he looked really good in the spring game. I believe he had an interception or tipped one ball, whatever. He just was kind of all over the place. Looked really good in my opinion. So excited about him. And then Brendan, you mentioned all the additions they made since that spring game too, which was almost, I believe, there was 10, 12 guys that transferred in that didn't even do the spring game. Kind of highlighted by Julius Lowridge, the grad transfer from Fordham. 3,121 rushing yards in his career at Fordham there. Just insane productivity. And then the defensive backs, right? We have Isaiah Johnson from Bemidji State. Dallas, I know you have heard from some folks that really like him. Jaden Oliver, transfer from Buffalo. Ernest Blackshire Jr., going to be kind of a linebacker, slot kind of guy from DuPage College. And then Zaid Aziz from Georgetown. So, I mean, just 4 big contributors right there on the defensive side of the ball, that guys that are definitely going to be in the rotation for sure. So, Dallas, anything from you? I gave you a second there just to get back on. Anything from the spring game?
I am such a mess here today. Everybody that's half watching and paying attention. I was 20 minutes. I tried to be 20 minutes early. My kids, and I think this happened for my first pod back last year. The kids used the computer that I use, messed a bunch of stuff up. My keyboard didn't work. Mouse was broken. Mic was broken. But I'm here and I've restarted twice. So hi.
Right. Are you officially ready to go?
I don't even know. Chad,
you're ready to go for football, though, right?
I'm excited. So, spring game, the quarterback plays, obviously, we've already talked about that, but I mean, that's what everybody's going to pay attention to. I thought overall I was, and this isn't something like we get a chance to go back and watch and break down film. So it's all just off the cuff. And then obviously now we're just remembering, but I think that linebacker core has the depth that we thought they did, where, you know, how we talked about those few years where we had injuries at both safety and linebacker, and the next guys just kept stepping up and we didn't lose production. And we said, hey, how deep is this well? And I really think that linebacker core is as deep as we thought, and we're not going to drop off much of all or any this next year. So that was exciting. Offensive line was, I think, the biggest thing that I really wanted to talk about on a pod coming up. And you mentioned new guys coming in. Nate Adams is literally and figuratively the biggest addition that we've got that we didn't get a chance to see. But man, there was a noticeable drop between the 1s and 2s on the offensive line. And that's not a crazy statement. I mean, that's normal. There's a reason why 1s are 1s and 2s are 2s. Mm-hmm. But you just look at maturity and development and body type, and there was a noticeable difference there. Do I know anyone graded out on film? No, but you can just tell, right? Because we've got that depth, that defensive line where you've got, 2.5, line changes coming in, and they can stay fresh. And then so they're used to seeing, the ones. Most of those guys are used to seeing the ones and taking those faster reps. And it did look like the second offensive line maybe struggled a little bit at times. So good to see him bring in, at least one more body there, where I think we could have been a little light. Not having a kicker, that was a little weird. We trotted out some guy that maybe won a contest, and they just gave him some cleats and let him kick. If I remember right, I could be wrong there. Am I making that?
That's not exactly right.
You're making that up. Yeah.
Okay. I don't
think that's exactly right.
I like Dallas's version. It's more fun.
It is more fun. Yeah.
No, it's the reason why, and I'm not speaking ill of anybody that's on the team. We're so used to seeing one person for so long. Yep. And honestly, then before that, we had one person for so long. Like we're not used to any sort of change in the kicking game at all. So that was just kind of bizarre.
Yeah, we've had some real quality kickers. So
Yeah,
You know,
huge. So again, I'm not didn't mean to talk shit about anybody. I just it was weird seeing different bodies run out there to kick.
Yeah, for sure.
And if it wasn't for the mass exodus, we probably would know who it is.
Yep.
They probably are going to play for the Washington State Jackrabbits instead. So,
yep. On the offensive line piece, one of the transfers that came in that I'm excited to see this year is John Pica. He played all over the offensive line, I believe, in that spring game. Left tackle too. He spent the previous 2 years at Dakota Wesleyan, where he was an all-conference player there, dominated from the jump as a true freshman and a sophomore. So I'm excited to see what he can do at this level. And he's going to provide some just experience depth, if nothing else. Like that's a worst case scenario, I think, with him. Another local kid that loves being a Jackrabbit. So excited about his future the next 2 years, I guess, here in Brookings for him. And Nate Adams, I'm sure you guys, you saw Kyle's interview with him on the Splitting Hairs. That was great. Got a chance to meet him at the youth camp I took Miles to. Super nice guy, huge human being though. So like just the human sunblock or whatever his name is on Twitter. Like he's massive. He's a big guy, but very, very nice. Really seems to be enjoying his time in Brookings so far. And so that's good. All these transfers, man, that's who was kind of working the camp, was the transfers and the freshmen. Just really excited to be in Brookings. And I know Dan screens for character really, really high. That's important for him, getting good kids in the program, or else they're just not going to be here. Like these are good kids. These aren't that school from Missouri that was the Bears or whatever their name was that used to be in our conference, where they had a lot of attitude issues, it seemed like.
And I'll back that up too. I've heard Dan say in different scenarios say that exact same thing. And that, I mean, everything really truly runs through him. And as far like he's taking it, all coaches I think take it seriously, but he's taking it really seriously, like who he allows into his building, and he has to know them before they get invited to come in. So that's kind of cool.
Yep. So
but I mean, from boots on the ground perspective about him, from where he came from, Rev saying that he's salt of the earth, great guy. I mean, if anybody's going to know, it's our resident dual citizenship Jack fan.
Yeah. Right. So, all right. What else you got for us, Dallas, tonight? We said spring game.
Yeah. Spring game's a good one. There was a lot of really cool, and I'm going to tap dance here while I pull something up. A lot of really cool. We opened up on, I believe, Facebook and Instagram, asked for suggestions of anything anybody wanted to talk about, and got some really cool stuff there.
Do we want to talk about the changes across the conference? I mean, because we're not the only ones undergoing significant changes here.
Yeah, I mean, there's so which piece of it, or which way you want to go with that?
I was just thinking coaching wise, gotcha. I mean, we've got USD, UND, all like starting over with new coaches, but somehow, just because we lost a lot of talent, USD's getting the accolades above us. I guess Aiden Bowman's Bauman. I don't know. I still say Bauman, but I guess he's the reason why, but didn't he lose everybody in front of us? And we were just talking about how Thumper was just saying how having that solid line to start behind as a first year full starter would be what you would want. Well, I mean, he's not a first year full starter, but he's been proven not to be that dual threat guy as much as he is more of a pocket passer. So how's that going to turn out for him? I mean, there's a lot of unknowns outside of, I suppose, NDSU's coach at the top of the valley.
That makes back to the USD thing, though. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I get what you're saying, but really, if you're going to have to just blindly rank some teams going into a season and there's all this upheaval and changes, I mean, really saying that the one with the returning quarterback and the returning very good quarterback, to say that team has a leg up, like I can't fault somebody outside of the program for saying that, right? Like that, I get it. It makes sense. I don't agree with it, but it makes sense.
It does. And, preseason rankings, Thumper can tell us what he thinks about preseason rankings.
They're good toilet paper.
He tattoos them on his leg every year.
Yeah. I write them on my leg every year for the whole world to see, so I always remember. To be fair, and particularly now they're worse. They're worse. To be fair, they're worse than ever because of the transfer portal and the amount of upheaval everybody has. You're throwing darts at a dartboard. In my opinion, stepping back, when I try to look at stuff like that, I try to do is like look at our situation and then say, what if it was happening to SD or to NDSU? How would I think of it then? And because then it makes me think more critical about it than just, hey, we're going to be great. So the two things I want to say about that, number one, I think most of the noise you hear that are very pro USD is more local. Zach McKinnell and the Blue Bloods, listening to those guys, they did have not Tim Rosario, just there's one thing he loved. Find someone who loves you like Tim loves hating on the Jacks right now, because he's a Washington State fan.
He's a WSU fan. Yeah.
He's a cougar.
The Washington State Jackrabbits, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. No, but and he makes good points. I'm just giving him shit. He's got good grounded basis for it. But I think locally is where you more hear that, because I think the most recent, the first preseason poll that came out was, I think it was Hero Sports, and they actually had us above USD after the spring portal was over. The conference in general, with the new coach in UND, who I actually really like what he's doing. There's kind of odd things happening, like NDSU losing their defensive line coach, I think, over the summer, and then USD situation, or was that USD? Was that USD?
That was NDSU.
That was NDSU. Yeah. Losing their quarterbacks coach, who, unless you've really been on watching and around and paying attention to what NDSU does, he's their quarterback coach they've had for their last 5 quarterbacks, who have all been professional quarterbacks, I'm pretty sure. Brock Jensen was in the CFL, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I think Brock Jensen played too.
To have 5 straight quarterbacks go to the league, like, you're not just finding talent, like, you're really, like, FBS schools find talent all the time. Their quarterbacks don't go to league every time they graduate. So that's interesting to see. USD's program, I'm interested to see how that goes. It's kind of interesting. Is that a reflection of the coaching staff when everybody transfers in the spring after giving them a chance? Was it just the money?
And
did they know what was coming?
They didn't have a chance to transfer before ad drop date.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, like that.
But you get a week. Well, you get the extra however long when the coach leaves. But by that time, what schools are really have openings, or
But it's ad drop for the regions. They never had a chance that way.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So like they would have been on the hook for their entire class load or courses and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I never thought about
slimy.
that.
It was almost like it was done on purpose.
Yeah. Yep.
Accidentally on purpose.
Kind of like the Coo Rabbits or Jackers, whatever we're calling those guys.
But
Washington State, the name amalgam, like where you put Chad and Sam together and you get Cham or Sad. Anyway.
You completely lost me with the last.
Good God.
What is going on with you tonight?
Nothing. I thought that was obvious. My bad. I'll shut up.
So
drink for being stupid.
The other point I was going to bring up, with all this flux going on, there is a bunch of good quarterbacks in the Valley as well coming back. You look at the quarterback for Southern Illinois, they were like top 5 team. Then he went out, right? And then he's back this year. What's his face down in Illinois State?
Tommy Rittenhouse.
He's back. They
return a ton.
And they return a lot. Like, I think I do agree that with the general consensus that the Valley's going to be tough, and it's interesting timing to have that happen when 3 of the, I don't want to say normally power schools, because USD is really new to it. Like, sorry, Yote fans, it's been 2 years. Like, you're getting there. You absolutely are, but you're not like a blue blood of the conference yet. But when you have three of the at least top half of the Valley teams normally swapping coaches while other schools that tend to dip up and down happen to be on the up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll make for an interesting year.
Yep. One of the interesting questions that I received as a DM was about the running back room. Obviously, we touched on it just a little bit with the tragic passing of Nate White and how that leaves us pretty thin. So obviously, Julius Lowridge, we talked about him transferring in from Fordham. We talked about Begeman. We talked about Quinn Renfro. And then we have 4 freshmen right now that came in as part of this class. There has already been one of the freshmen, the kid from Alabama, can't remember his name. He left the program already. He was up here for summer workouts for a couple weeks, and he's gone. So we have 7 running backs, 5 of which have no carries essentially in their career. Begeman has 25. So that's going to be really interesting this year because we want to run the ball in order to protect Chase a little bit, right? So
let's not forget the guy behind center that also can run the ball. He can be a pseudo. I mean, we don't want him running the ball too much, obviously, but definitely a threat to run the ball. And if he does it like the Ginger Jesus that they had out east, I mean, we could be unstoppable there.
Out east?
What?
At Holy Cross?
Yeah, the Holy Cross.
Ginger Jesus.
He's a ginger?
Have we ever
That's what he's a redhead. That's Lucas got red hair.
Oh, everybody called Carson Wentz that, and I was like, but out east, I'm confused. Okay, you got me.
Sorry. I forgot that they called Wentz that. I didn't see Wentz as that much of a running threat. He did run fairly effectively when he ran. A little bit more like Mark, not quite like the one from Holy Cross. Sorry. I guess I'm just in a different plane of thought tonight.
You're right. You're just 2 steps ahead. We'll blame it on that. What's
Dustin says he suffered from gingivitis.
Is there any way?
Thanks, Jim.
Like, I assume there's portal guys out there. Like, is it too late for that?
So you can still add right up until the first game, I believe, right, Brendan? Like,
yeah.
Alex is kind of our portal guy. You can still add, and there are still guys in the portal.
Yeah, that was a leading question. Yeah,
but are they going to be guys you want to add?
Exactly.
Kind of the
unless
question.
there are slips through the crack, like what's his name from down in Sioux County, Iowa, back in the day. You know that we always reserve a scholarship that Stig used to do. I don't know. You got to think the quality guys are mostly gone.
I just with only 2 guys that have had carries though, like your running backs get dinged up, like just period. That's
for sure.
That is life. I mean, you need at least 3 guys that you're confident they can take a bunch of carries if they need to. And I mean, unless there's some freshman coming in at 220 that is just physically ready to go, that's a very worrisome part of the program right now.
Yeah.
So my thought on this, and not that it's not something to be worried about, but every time that this program since Zenner left, right? Every time since then, there's always been a huge question mark at one position where Goddard leaves, Winicky leaves, Zenner leaves. Oh my God, how are you going to fill that hole? How are you going to fill that hole? And somebody rises to the occasion. That's just been a hallmark of the program so far. Not that I'm not concerned about depth, but I remember, last year we were talking about how incredibly deep the room was and how talented the guys were behind the guys who did transfer. So I am kind of excited to see those guys get a shot, personally. And a good offensive line can really make a running back look good. Mm-hmm. And I do think we have a really good offensive line. So that should help a lot. And we've got a very savvy and experienced offensive coordinator, right? In Eidsness, who's been around the block more than twice. So that's a good deal. I think it will be massively important for Chase to have learned to keep himself safe and not overextend himself trying to get a yard where it's not that important. Like, you already got the first down, get out of bounds, get down. Don't try to truck everybody. We know you can, but don't do it because we need you. You know, that's a scary thing for me.
That brings me to two things that I wanted to cover. One is back to a question. Who asked it? Somebody asked about our coaches.
Oh yeah, it was if we improved
Cody
or
Schilling.
Yep.
I just had to get to the right one. Sorry.
Cool. Oh no, thank you, Chad. So yeah, Cody asked, do you guys feel we improved or stepped back in the various coaching positions? I, honest to God, think we improved.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And I am not paid to say that. And this isn't a slight against anybody that left because I like those guys too. But man, do I think we actually improved. And you hear Stig talk about that, about changes like this being an opportunity. You said that in various interviews, that this is an opportunity, and every time somebody leaves, you need to get better. And I genuinely think we did that. You know, we got to see Dan Jackson as a head coach. Nobody's seen that yet, like the things we've heard so far. But otherwise, I mean, you can't. I liked our coordinators before, but you can't make a case for me that we didn't improve at both the coordinator spots. I really, without a doubt, Eric Eidsness would. I've said this to so many people. He would be an SEC coordinator right now if some things would have shaken out for him a little bit differently over the last 4 or 5 years. Period. And then we've got Berge coming back on defense, and he was co-coordinator, and he got to go run his own team and learn some things there and come back. So so they're elevated, and Berge's talked about how he doesn't have to coach a position group, so he's able to just coach his coaches and to float around where it's needed. Like structurally, this is almost like a business thing, but structurally, I'm really happy with where the staff is at and what they get to do, and I think that's really exciting.
And I'm glad you brought up this structure of this coaching staff, because I think Dan has done a terrific job building it, of these experienced coaches with SDSU connections, but then all of these young guys that are up and comers in the coaching profession. I think there's 2 guys that are on that 30 under 30 list or whatever. The safeties coach that we stole from Stetson. I can't remember his name exactly right now. But he looks Armand or something like that. Zane Bouchikist is the linebackers coach. He was at Boise State. But then again, how it's being built out is like Dyshawn Gales isn't even on the coaching staff on the page. He is the assistant cornerback coach. So he's essentially like these they're not GAs either, but they're assistant position coaches. There is so much teaching that's happening in these rooms. And I think that's one of the things. Dan is recognized as a great recruiter, right? We know he's a great recruiter. We see all these guys he's bringing in, but he's also a great teacher of these players and developing players. And I think that's the kind of staff that he's building around him, is making sure that the players that are going to be on the field really understand. I mean, have we ever had an assistant cornerback coach before? Like, not a GA, but an actual coach. Like, that's cool.
So that just shows how much money in investment in the program and how much it's grown and over time here to be able to have those things. You know, that's at an FCS level. It's pretty damn impressive to have the budget to be able to get those sort of things.
Yep. Yes, we have a mental health or a mental performance coach. And I have her name somewhere. And Dallas, do you remember it?
Cinder Campoff. Cinder Campoff. She's from Mankato here. I know her. Her son has actually been my son's kind of arch rival. He's like the best athlete on the east side in Hudson's class. So those two have been button heads since they were, like 8. So that's kind of cool. But no, she's Cinder's fantastic. I've talked to her a handful of times, been around her a bunch, been instrumental in a lot of MSU's programs, does a lot of stuff on her own, works with, some different professional athletes and things.
Still works with Adam Thielen. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So very cool. So I'm glad that's a position that got filled, which was really funny because I was mowing my yard on my Kubota, thinking about the upcoming season and how we hadn't announced anything for that position yet. And then she popped up that evening or day, whatever it was. So very cool.
Yes, we definitely are back if Ron is commenting.
So one quick thing here. Chad's wife, Sam, got a shout out being in mid-season form, handing a drink to Chad no problem. Better than the rest of us. Again, she's doing great. But we were on a call this summer, Chad and I were a couple weeks ago with Dreamers Do Travels. It's a company by Amy Dix that it's a new sponsor this year for us, travel agency. But anyways, we're in the middle of this meeting with Amy and Dreamers Do Travels, and Sam reaches through the door and hands Chad her lunch. It was, again, his lunch. It was a mid-season form. Like you barely even saw Sam on camera again, just like how she does the drinks. You don't even notice it. But here's Chad all of a sudden with a sandwich I think he was eating that day. So it was pretty great.
That's classic.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was just a snack, not a lunch.
Just a snack. But yeah, so that's pretty good. Let's do some sponsors here while we're stopped, I guess. Cubby Sports Bar and Grill in Brookings is going to be a show sponsor this year. I just want to give them a shout out. We love Cubbies. We rave about them all the time. We go to Cubbies when we're in town. Culver's, I had Culver's just yesterday. I had Culver's. It was delicious. Man, I love Culver's. But again, that's Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. They've been with us for a long time. They're a show sponsor. New sponsor this year that all four of us have posted about that we love, Hadrick Ranch, premium Angus beef from Fulton, South Dakota. They hooked us up with some beef bundles, and we have all been enjoying that.
God, it's good meat.
It's really good. It's high choice, if not prime, on some of it. Really good meat. Grills up nice, and their beef bundles ship anywhere, I think.
Anywhere in the lower 48. That's like the coolest thing.
Yeah. So
it's like that other outfit down in the state south of us, right? South of me.
But way better. But
way better.
I've had their stuff.
Yep.
It is better.
Yep.
Just in case anyone glossed over Matt saying it's really good, guys, this is really, really good.
Insanely good.
So good.
Yep.
Well, and the great thing is, if you're one of those people who's like, God, I'd like to get a cow, I'd like to get a whole cow with somebody, but I don't know where to find, I don't know a rancher to get it from, or don't know where to get it processed. Go to Hadrick's website, and then you just click on there. They're named different, but they're kind of essentially that, and just go through, pick what you want, and fill your freezer, and it'll be fantastic stuff.
Yep. And Garrett Meyer asks, are they sponsoring the book club? Maybe not sponsoring. But we do probably have some stuff planned with them this year at tailgate and stuff. So it's going to be fun. So, yeah. All right. We'll get to the last three sponsors here in just a bit. So what else we got, Dallas?
You guys want to just cover a little bit of national stuff? That's what actually sparked it for me. I know it's such a giant can of worms. Oh, actually, let me back up one step. One thing I wanted to talk about, though, on some of these topics is where to go if anybody has missed between Gaskins and some of the other podcasts, talking about realignment and some different topics going on, because there's been a lot of really good, information out, between talking realignment, talking about, coaching changes, talking about other just, interviews and things going on. Like there's been some solid content that's come out. So, I think, to me, one of the best, if you want to talk, let's talk NIL, which is where I kind of wanted to take that. A giant topic, big changes. I don't know if how many people listening have gotten into it to the point where they care about, did we opt in? Did we opt out? We make the right choice. I think somebody did comment on Instagram or Facebook wanting to hear about that. That I would go back to John Gaskins and a handful of interviews he did. He had a great one with Sell. I'd say go back and listen to that, two of them. Yeah, Had a couple good ones. So very roundabout way of saying, let's, I guess, maybe recap the NIL situation quick and just kind of where we landed. I know, Brendan, you've had some of the best, to me, information or just kind of explanations out there. Do you want to jump in and chat that a little bit?
Sure. And you're right. That interview with Sell, especially the second one after we decided to opt in, is fantastic. He also has one with USD's athletic director that's interesting to listen to for their reasoning. Kind of comes out and essentially says we can compete in the NIL space, so we want to be able to use our regular athletic budget dollars, because then they can, I won't.
So does that mean kids
here.
are paying for other kids? Oh, never mind.
So, all right. So, all right. That's part of it, right? So that's part of the question people might have. Like, so when you opt in, if just for the basics for anyone who doesn't understand, South Dakota State and the majority of universities decide to opt into the house settlement. What does that mean? It means scholarship wise, the FCS has no set scholarship limit really anymore. It can be set by the conferences. The Missouri Valley Football Conference hasn't set one yet. So that means you are only allowed to roster 105 players, but you can give a scholarship to every one of them if you have the funds. That to me is the more important part at the FCS level compared to what a lot of media and John Gaskins, who's done a great job, but he really likes to push that the school can pay the player, the school can play the player, the school can play the player. Well, yeah, but if a school is able to offer, if an FCS school is able to fundraise to have 85 scholarships instead of the 63 they used to have, and they're all full boat scholarships, that's probably as impactful, if not maybe more, than being able to give a guy 15 grand from the athletic budget. Yes, that you will be able to pay from the athletic department coffers. I don't know the exact breakdown of where you're able to pay from, where you're not able to pay from. I do know you're not able to pay from like student fees. Now, what does that mean? Well, that just means that the school's going to shift their travel budget to being paid for by the student fees, and then they'll pay from their donations or whatever else revenue that they have to pay for the athletes. And if anyone has really dove into college bookkeeping numbers, like through the Knight Newhouse database or anything, you come to realize real fast that there's some real chefs in the kitchen putting those numbers together. They make them look however they have to look to be good, to an extent. They are nice to be able to get a baseline, but the reality is it's not. They're cooked up to look a certain way. I mean, Alabama, you're still technically a nonprofit. So they can't have a bunch of excess profit around, so they're having to pay and do all this other stuff. But when it comes to opting in, it has an effect across the board. It's not just football. You're not just able to have 105 in football. The big crux of the issue with the FCS schools is your football roster has so many positions on it. Your basketball team is bigger than the amount of scholarships you have. Your softball team is far bigger than the amount of scholarships you have. Most of these roster limits are below what a lot of these teams carry for athletes. So the big holdup for a school like South Dakota State was, well, are we going to have to just drop all these athletes from the program, which is important, from the human perspective. You're just ripping that away from these kids who have committed, and especially on Olympic sports, put in huge amounts of time, and could be contributors, and you're just ripping the opportunity away because you just quick opted in. And that was part of the hesitation for South Dakota State. The other part of that consideration is all the athletes that are on the team that don't have a scholarship are paying tuition. And if you go across the board, I believe in his interview with Justin Sell, Sell said it would have cost SDSU, I think, like $1.6 million immediately to lose all those athletes in tuition for the university. So that's a big chunk of change for really any school, but especially a school South Dakota State size. So when they came out, they grandfathered in the athletes that would have been affected by these roster limits. Now, there's another interesting thing about that hasn't been talked about, in my opinion. These athletes that are over the roster limit, they get a tag put on them that sticks with them specifically for the rest of their athletic careers. What could that mean? That could mean going forwards that person could theoretically be more valuable to your team to bring as a transfer if they decide to transfer, because that designation stays with them. So you could bring them in as a transfer and they won't count against your roster limit. It doesn't stay with the school. It stays with the player, is what I specifically remember them saying. I think it was Justin Sell said that on the interview. Yep. And my immediate thought was transfer. That kid's like instantly boosted stock because he's not counting against the roster. So that's crazy to add on
for schools with the money, to be clear.
For schools with the money to do it. And to be clear, and this factors in. When I went through, I made a big Twitter thread about it the other day. South Dakota State is funded at an FBS level right now, period. End of story. And we're paying
And NDSU.
FCS scholarships and NDSU at an FCS level of commitment or demand, which means, what does that mean? It means you have extra money to spend in different places, right, without having to be forced to spend that money where you don't want to. So going forward, that could make an effect. Now, your first thought might be, well, if South Dakota State's going up to, say, hypothetical number, you go to 75 scholarships, right? Well, Title IX, you've got to be able to make up for that. They expanded the rosters for all the Olympic sports as well. You don't necessarily have to add a whole, like in the old school way it was with how our Title IX scholarships are balanced. If you wanted to go to FBS and add all those scholarships, odds were you were going to have to add a female sport in order to balance those scholarships out. Your softball team, when it first came out with those roster limits, I think they were at like 6 or 9 scholarships. Well, now you can roster the whole team, and there's like 20 girls on those teams. So if you can hammer all those scholarships into softball or whatever sport you deem that you could have the most amount of success in. And this might be a bunch of word salad as I get to this point that people aren't understanding. And that's why I super urge you to go and listen to the interview with Justin Sell and Schemmel that Gaskins have, because those are the guys making the decisions, really put thought in. And Justin Sell does a phenomenal job of boiling this stuff down. In the long run, what does this affect? I think FCS wise, if these conferences don't put in scholarship limits and agree on limits kind of across the FCS is going to get real unbalanced real fast. The schools that have the money, I think, are going to add more scholarships, and it's going to get way worse than it ever's been. Secondly, I think you're going to see schools specifically, especially the mid-major level, but even out in Washington State, they cut almost their entire track program and are only focusing on certain track athletes.
Distance runners.
Yeah, distance runners. So you could see University South Dakota State size deciding to pour resources into where they can be the most successful and effective and make the most return on their money.
I'm sitting here in Mankato. The University of Minnesota just came out 2 days ago, and they're projecting an $8.5 million deficit in their athletic department next year. And that's a Big Ten school with a $21.5 million budget to pay athletes, I believe, is what they're at. The Big Ten, I think, is like $21.5 million or something like that. Football gets 17.
So the cap of what you can pay is $20 million, period. Right? That doesn't mean you have to spend up to that, but I think that's nationwide in the NCAA. You can spend $20 million, I believe, is the cap. But anyways, go on.
No, I mean that's just the fact that you're seeing a school of that scope struggling to keep up, because I mean to compete in that league, they got to pay, right? I mean, they got all their players. They started at I think $100,000 salary as a true freshman coming in, up to about $1.5 million for the top players, and that's what they need to compete. So anyway, you're seeing that at that scale. It's obviously a struggle in different ways at every other level. Going back to initially when you started talking, you said, is it more impactful to play or to pay players or to have more scholarships? And I know that was kind of a leading question, but yeah, it's obviously at our level, it's the extra scholarships. And I'm curious if we get in a bit of an arms race with the furry cows up north, because that would be the worrisome thing to me. Because if they suddenly, say we didn't opt in, which we did, so that doesn't matter, but they opt in, they fund up to 85 scholarships. Well, that's a lot of special teams athletes on scholarship that we don't have.
Well, and
you can't keep up with that.
And to add to your fear with that, Dallas, their Team Makers Club funds all their scholarships for the whole school already. They already raised the money that pays for all their athletic department scholarships, I believe, is how much money they raise, or at least just the football team minimum. So if you've already got fundraising arm paying for all of it, which, to be fair, the Jackrabbit Club just came out and they raised like $2.6 million this year
Mhm.
2.3, and then the Jackrabbit Scholarship Auction did 2.4, 2.5. So it's not like this is some chasm between the schools, but that is definitely something to look at.
And I'm curious, you know, with a lot of the NIL collectives going away now, right? NDSU Athletics is absorbing the Green and Gold Collective. We already had our collective moved in-house. Like, I'm curious what happens to that, because the Green and Gold Collective up there did a lot of good stuff for them. And now is that, I'm just curious how that's going to change, whether it's the U with their Dinkytown Collective or whatever. Like, what happens to those? They're absorbed, but does the athletic department divvy out that money now? Like,
yeah, I think so. I think the athletic department gets to decide who gets paid what, and they figure out in their budget what's going to get paid and everything like that. And I'd imagine you end up giving, you know, like Dallas was talking about Minnesota, right? They're going to do 17 million for football. Well, you probably give PJ Fleck that this is your budget of 17 million, fit your roster into hit. This is the money you have, and you fit it in there.
Yep.
And you know, you look at it from that perspective, and why did it make sense for SDSU to do it once you got beyond the roster cuts? You know, they were grandfathered in. Why did it make sense for SDSU? Well, you look at just how we run the NIL collective. It's not a separate collective. It is through a company that SDSU uses. Through Learfield ran the NIL collective. They, you know, so now it makes sense that SDSU wanting some form of that sort of control, to they not being able to control it, but having a company they're associated with run it.
Yep.
Now being able to control it all themselves. That way they can make sure things are done right. You know, and get buy-in from donors that way, and have them, hey, we need this money. It's the school. It's the school asking for it. It's not an NIL collective who, even if they should trust them, might not, just because they're old school and NIL makes them angry. But if I'm giving the money to Justin Sell, who I've been giving millions of dollars to for the last 15 years, all right, I trust that's going to go to where it's supposed to. So that made a lot of sense to me from that standpoint. And the other thing that makes a lot of sense to me, and wouldn't make sense in not going in, and I'm not saying that we are pushing for this or should push for this, but if you ever want to be FBS in the future, there is no way, even if you did have the money to go opt in and didn't want to, it's an awful look to the rest of the FBS conferences that you might try to want to get into if you didn't opt in. If you can opt in and then you're able to fund to a pretty high level scholarship wise, you can walk up to them and go, hey, we're FCS and we're doing this and we're funding at your level. And we bring this to the table.
That's a good point and a good transition. Somebody, another Cody question, asked about the P4 G6 split. And I mean, I'm assuming that plays into it. And we've talked about in the past. I'm sure that there's closed door meetings have been going on for years and talking about this stuff. And it'd be silly to think that we weren't preparing if the right opportunity came along or if that split happens. And it makes sense because, again, does South Dakota State make sense to play Ohio State? No. But does it make sense to play Wyoming and Fresno and Utah State and whatever? Yes, that makes total sense. So,
New Mexico.
I'd assume that there's that kind of prep going on, and it seems like it's getting closer, but who knows? That's probably a longer imaginary conversation if anybody wants to have that. Brendan, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
So go ahead, Brendan. Are you done? Or
go ahead, Matt.
Okay.
I have something, but it's semi not related, but it is. So you go ahead.
So that wasn't a rant by Brendan. It was chock full of good information. There's very little emotion in there. But this year we have a new sponsor for Brendan by Mensch Greenhouse from Avon, South Dakota. Longtime listener Corey Mensch wanted to sponsor the rant timer for Brendan this year. So if you
we had one, but it was too quick. I couldn't get on the timer.
Yeah, if you need any of your gardening or nursery or landscaping needs, Mensch Greenhouse down in Avon, South Dakota. Thank you, Corey. So go ahead, Brendan. That's a new
I actually
spot.
have two rants, but we'll go with this one first because it piggybacks off of what Dallas is saying, and we were talking about with the FBS, G5 split, everything else. That's such a huge topic with the split, and will it happen? Won't it happen? Oh, we need to jump. We need to stay. Why would you spend the $5 million to jump just for it to, just for that to go? To end up with the same people you were with. And then the other argument is, well, you'll get stuck behind. You won't be able to find a conference, blah, 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 blah. None of us have that info good enough to make that call and make that decision. I understand being nervous. I understand both sides of the argument. There's the argument of why spend the money to be FBS when you're not G5 is not truly FBS the way the power schools are. They just aren't. It's a shadow subdivision in division. So I understand that argument. The argument that drives me nuts, even though it is correct, it's just so over theatricized, especially by the guys up north, specifically Mike McFeely, about you have to go FBS. There's nothing left in the FCS. Like, first off, just to stick up for Gaskins and Matt Zimmer and Zach Borg and all the guys we work with in Sioux Falls media, the absolute shit-face arrogance of that man to come on a Sioux Falls talk show from his own company and then make the comment about why there was a press conference in Fargo and saying, well, that's because there's actual media in Fargo. Go sit on it. What a douche. Anyway,
I think he was poking fun at the fact that Brookings doesn't really have their own outside of the Brookings.
If he was going Brookings, then fine. Okay. But Jesus,
it still came across tones completely.
I agree.
Hell of it. Like,
I kind of chatted with Gaskins about it. That's what he thought too. But
okay. Well,
I mean, as far as Brookings,
if he's taking it as like Brookings doesn't have the media presence of Fargo, then fine. I retract my statement. But man, that's just peak Fargo. But anyways, there's all this caterwauling, right? There's all this caterwauling about the FCS and it's dying and it's weakened, and it is. But man, when some of these programs leave and we're losing our Missouri State left, and people are like, "Oh, the FCS is so watered down," it's Missouri State. What are you talking about? They've made the playoffs 3 times in the dinosaurs have made the playoffs more than Missouri State did, for Christ's sakes. What are we talking about here? And then, Sacramento State wants to leave. That's just so watered down. They're known for making the quarterfinals and getting their balls kicked in, and they're infamous for a game that scored 30,000 points against Incarnate Ward that they lost on their home field. What are we talking about here?
Yep.
And I will agree, particularly in the middle of the FCS, it has been watered down to an extent. But if you don't mind, I'm going to share a screen here. We just added a conference, right? They're kind of, people know of them. It's called the Ivy League. They're participating in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to compete with them.
Hey, Brown. Anybody ever think like, oh, Brown's a super good football team? This is the indoor stadium. This is their indoor practice facility that's getting finished this winter. That is on par with the S-Jack for sure. It is.
If not, then some.
It is gorgeous. That's Brown. That's like a
lower level
Ivy League school. Here's their facilities in the rest of their facilities here. It's crazy, right? Here's the rest of their.
We lost your screen.
Their regular facility.
He's switching.
There we go. Yeah. Oh wow.
That sucks.
That's Brown. That's their mid. Like you work the middle is falling out. We don't have Eastern Conference teams stepping up, but we just added. This is their investment when they aren't in the playoffs, right? For a middling Ivy League school team, you can't tell me that we didn't just add some middle level teams that could play, that can compete. You can't tell me that.
And that's not even Princeton or Harvard or Dartmouth.
Yeah.
That's
So we added those. And then the other thing is now you've got Richmond and you've got Nova and you've got, God bless it, William and Mary all going to the Patriot League, which takes the good teams out of the CAA and puts them in the Patriot League, who, say what you will about the Patriot League, they've had teams make runs deeper than the SoCon in the last decade. Dinger. Right in the batteries, right in the devil's dangler.
That wasn't pointed at anyone.
Oh my God.
Ron, we're pre week one.
Okay, so, you know, am I going to say they're going to be world beaters? No. Can I see in the future where the Patriot League becomes a pretty solid conference? Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got Nova, William and Mary, Richmond, all teams with national titles. Holy Cross, who's made a run. You've got Fordham, who makes a run once in a while. There's a lot of storied programs that, if they all compete with each other, could become pretty good. So I'm just saying that the FCS's watered down crap has just absolutely fallen off. It's just out of their minds. I'm very excited for these additions.
I put it up earlier. I didn't put it up at the right time.
They struggled picking a color palette for their facilities.
I think we should go with orange, guys.
Turd brown.
All right,
bro, that's A+. A+.
He's mid-season form.
That's my rant for that, because it seems to be completely forgotten, and I don't think people understand because let's be honest, part of the reason there's such a big gap is the investment by SDSU, NDSU, the Montanas, and let's be honest, we're investing at a level that FCS wasn't necessarily intended to be invested at.
Yep. Correct.
FCS was meant to be a cost containment subdivision for teams that wanted to be in the tournament for Division I basketball, and then also field a football team to provide that opportunity.
Yep.
The teams 100%. That prioritized football moved up to FBS mostly. Yep. It just is what it is, and that's part of why the gap's there. Some schools, it's just, I mean, you can't look at Duquesne and be like, why don't you put $11 million into your football program? You know, it's not feasible for them. But you add those schools could buy South Dakota State University and then still fund their football program at the level of Ohio State if they decided to. So just through their endowment, like they have billions in their endowments. It's insane. So, I mean, I'm very excited to have schools that are capable of investing at that level that aren't in the Midwest or the West jump into the pool finally. I think it is a massively underreported deal because of all the opt-in, opt-out nonsense and transfer portal and everything else we have going on. I do think it's very undersold. Do I think they're going to win a national title this year? No. But give them 10 years. I mean, part of the reason they didn't do the playoffs is arrogance, because they couldn't stand to be losing to the Poors, right? So they're going to invest to win. I have no doubt in my mind that their donors are going to be like, well, I can't be having my Joffrey losing to South Dakota State. I stay. This is unacceptable, sir. Here's $30 million from my offshore accounts. Make it happen, you know?
All right, so that's a good segue there. Talking conferences a little bit and realignment, and I don't get too deep into it, but there are a few things going on there now yet that could trickle down. It's more likely that it's going to impact your Texas schools, right? That, you know, in terms of backfilling, but you've got NIU already obviously left the MAC, so that's a kind of area conference that's in a little bit of upheaval. And then there was word that came out, I think this week, that Ohio is looking to leave the MAC. Is that it? Was that this week?
Yes.
Ohio, Ohio. So that's another, you know, significant thing that they could be looking to backfill that. Now, I forget, I believe it was Brendan called out that, God, that'd be a great place for Youngstown to fall. And I would love that for no other reason other than Fargo would burn if that were to happen.
Because, you know, Youngstown's the media central of the United States. They got real media there.
Yes.
Geography fits. So I don't know. There's going to continue to be those changes, and stuff's going to shake out, and we'll see. Then there continues to be more discussion about where some of those Texas schools are going to fall. in terms of whether it's FCS or intended FBS locations. So there could be some exciting stuff coming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the big schools are definitely going to want to take their ball, aka the money, and not play with anyone else. They've shown that before. They continue to show that. It's going to be a matter of years before they don't want to share that money with anyone else.
Well,
and the G5 thing is going to happen. I think we all know it's going to happen.
Well, I think to me it's more not even as I think the Power Five, the Power Five, your autonomous whatever now.
That's what I was talking about.
Your A4. I don't think it'll even I think right now they're just seeing how far they can push it before the G5 schools finally snap and go, no, yeah, we're out. This is too much. You guys are ridiculous. We're out of this. But with how they're
Kevin bringing the facts right up there with Fargo, because he said Fargo was what the
Thanks,
14th.
Yeah.
Just a couple things before we move on to the next topic here. A couple other sponsors. Blue Tide Car Wash is back again for a second year as a segment sponsor. Tons of locations down in Sioux Falls, one in Mitchell, one in Brookings. And they just do an awesome job. I know a number of folks that do have the membership option and just go and get their car clean whenever there's a speck of dust on it. Brendan might be one. So he does a great job with that, promoting them. They've been a sponsor on the Brendan and Borg Late Night Show. We'll see with that, how that gets worked out. If we've had a number of questions on that, but
we're leaning. That. Yeah, we will have a late night show. We have sponsors lined up. We're going to have a late night show.
Yes.
I would lean towards the positive of Borg being there, but we'll see. I've had people reach out to me if that doesn't happen. So
beautiful. All right. And our next sponsor to hit highlight is Renegade Regeneration. Alice, I'll let you this one.
I don't know. I'm not prepared for an ad read here. Excited to be involved. And anybody who is not aware, left my job end of last year, starting a supplement company, starting out with a hydration powder, going very well so far. Company's called Renegade Regeneration. Product is called Hydrate. Normally, we hope to get some free samples as hosts for sponsors. These guys actually all bought their own because they're awesome, and I appreciate it.
Good too.
You want an endorsement right now? I'll tell you this. I don't like fruit punch ever, but this shit's delicious. It is absolutely delicious.
Love it.
Ariel has looked at me and told me to ask you if there's cocaine in it because she's never seen me drink this much water ever. So she's very happy about that.
Don't give away company secrets.
There we go.
I just know the shakes when I don't have it.
You just Coca-Cola is a bad business model, apparently, huh?
just trying what they did. No, so excited to again be involved. Thank you very much, guys. And if anybody's interested, either go to renegaderegeneration.com or you can search it on Amazon.
There we go. I like this for Dustin. It's a good read. All right, and we'll also have JFPA this year. We'll be doing they're working with us. We're going to highlight their work and what's happening with JFPA. Just a good partnership. We support each other. So absolutely on that one. So we have a number of exciting things to share with you that we're going to share throughout the preseason here.
Big news coming.
But this first one,
nuggets.
we can share because this is just us. But Chad, do you want to share it actually as the founder of Book Club?
Am I a founder? I'm a founder. I'm not the founder.
A founder of Book Club. Yeah.
So we've gone corporate. We're going to the backyard, and big things to come. What's that? What's that, Brendan?
You can see it kill your soul.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to the corporate.
I didn't. No. Come on, now. I didn't have that attitude. I never did.
So
it just made sense for what we're trying to do. Unfortunately, that means we leave the things that we loved about the library a lot. But
yes,
we're gonna do our own thing up there, working out who else might be coming with us potentially. That's still up in the air a little bit, but So look for us to the north of the softball field, up by the northeast exit. Kind of, I think we're 1 or 2 spots down. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, something like that. So we are excited to be back there. Be working with athletics and stuff and some different promotions, and just having just a set spot every week where we know we're going to be together. And yeah, it's going to be great. So
I'm pumped.
And we won't be very far from like Paul Saylor's. He's got that. What does he call that? His trailer that has the margaritas in it. So I mean, that's like right next to your old trailer, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
he's like right next to where he used to.
Yeah, interesting. Cool.
I will say this: we went big at the old tailgate spot. This allows us the opportunity to go a little harder and bigger,
and more permanent.
Permanent. It's going to last longer.
It's like tailgating on a blue pill.
That's it's tailgate Viagra.
Trying to say.
It's tailgate
Viagra. It's not my old spot, Darren. It's a different spot. It's it's up next to the road that's there, the Jackrabbit Avenue or whatever. East. And then it's close enough to John Colley and his crew. So yeah, it'll be good. We're excited.
It will be easier to see a lot of people who come visit us from down in the backyard that we've seen in the past, parents, things like that. So that'll be super cool.
Yep.
I mean, I used to always have to walk out there every tailgate to go spread pudding shots. Now I'll be there.
There we go.
That sounds weird. I'm sorry.
Where'd you spread them, Chad? Was it on yourself?
Well, sometimes if I miss the hole, I got on myself.
I got some pudding for you. Get over here.
Say it. Say my wife's name.
Oh no.
Her name is Christina.
If I right click on Chad, can I mute him?
Yeah, I can mute myself too.
Oh my god.
Oh god. What other big news you got, Matt?
We're not going to share the rest of the big news. We are going to do more preview shows here. We'll do what we did last year. I haven't talked about this with you guys, but we'll do the conference preview. We'll do offense. We'll do defense. 3 separate episode coming up here before the season. Then we'll get into previewing Sac State. Sorry, Dallas.
Cool. No, that's what I was kind of hoping to end with a bit of a on-air production meeting and kind of talk through what we were planning there. So nope. I can put together a calendar like I have last couple of years if that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds good.
All right, so we'll do that. So offense, defense, conference. Did we do a fourth? I feel like we
did kind of a hodgepodge, a potpourri one of this.
We just had a random one. Okay. So I'll take a look. Wow. I'll try to come up with what we did last year. Do 3 or 4 because I know we all get itchy to start.
Weren't you muted, Chad?
we're all going to get going once August happens and get some word coming out from fall camp and hear some things too that's worth sharing.
Yep, exactly.
Potential for some sneak peeks on upcoming things within the next week or so, probably, maybe.
I'm just as excited as everybody else. I have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, someone guessed it. So our big one. So that's cool. Yeah. We're excited about that. But no, I'm pumped for this season. As August gets closer and closer, I start getting more and more excited about football season here. So yeah, we'll be great. It's gonna be fun this year. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and then all of our sponsors that we talked about. Any last words, guys, fellas?
Nope. Good to be back.
Pusillanimous.
I talk too much.
You're great. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This was fun.
I hope you all had as much fun as we did.
Go big, go blue,
go Jack.
Go Jack.